Hello everyone. So, now that we are drawing ever nearer to the end of the course, let's talk about debugging and some logs on the server. So, as most softwares on your machine, BitNinja will carry logs, and we have a separate log for every single entry on be it every module, and so you can check them individually and figure out what's wrong and what's not working. So let's simulate where I'm trying to test the web application firewall, but it's not triggering. Let's see what we can do in these scenarios. So first and foremost, what we can do is just check if it's enabled or not. That's the most important part. So we can do that by using our CLI knowledge and use module equals web application firewall manager and status. And we can see that it's currently not enabled, so that's why it's not triggering. But let's say this is enabled and everything looks to be running, but it still doesn't work. What can we do in those scenarios? I have made a few queries, so to say, to help you along this. And one of them is to make sure you have your redirections. So one of them is this, and if you press, you will see that it's nothing. There are no redirections made. So if these are made and everything looks to be running, you can still go and let's just enable the module for now and see what we can do from there. So we will do this. We will enable the web application firewall. The agent will get the command. Let's wait a bit. Yep, it's still not enabled. Still not enabled. Of course, it takes some time for the API to connect with our machine, but it will be enabled in a bit. It should be enabled now because you can see it's hanging a little bit, so it takes some time to give us some info. So this is a good sign. Yep, it will be enabled soon. But in the meantime, what I wanted to show you is, even though web application firewall seems to be up and running, what you can also do is try to see if BitNinja's SSL termination module is also running. And by grepping, checking netstat, which will show the active connections and everything to your machine with ports and stuff, and with the -lntp, and you can just grep for BitNinja -ss, and you can see it's BitNinja's SSL termination module. And if you do not see it here, what you can also do is check. Oops, I would like to do this, please. Yep. So if it seems to be that SSL terminating is running and everything's up and ready, or you don't see it here, and that's the worst scenario. If you don't see it here, you should go ahead and check a config test just to be certain. And if you get back that configuration is invalid, it will tell you which line is invalid. So you can check what's there, what's not. BitNinja is trying to make everything to make it as user-friendly as possible. So you cannot really mess the configuration up too much, because even though if you do, the configuration will still go on. So it will not brick your machine. But if it doesn't, then you can check the configuration file if you would like to debug. And let's come back to this command real quick and check. Yep, you can see this is how it looks if everything is up and running. You should see one redirection for every IP and every port that IP has. So in a normal scenario with a real machine and not a virtual one, you should see one for the port 80 and one for port 443. And you should also see at least 4 redirections made for the ports that are necessary for BitNinja to run. And so if this is ready and everything's good, then you should be good to go. But let's say you've got a not valid error for the configuration file. What can you do in that case? Well, it's pretty simple. What you do is you move into the directory of var log/bitninja and here. And if we do an ls -lah, you can see we have some logs here, quite a few actually. And so we have our main log, we have our anti-flood backup module, captcha FTP, captcha HTTP, captcha SMTP, CLI log, configuration parser, data provider, defense robot, DOS detection, IP filter, malware detection, malware scanner, SSL terminating, system.log, and web application firewall manager.log. And also, what we also have is you can simply just move to, let's say we would like to move up a little bit, and dash web application firewall, and we also have an access log for the web application firewall. So if we, of course we cannot see the end, but we can go into the folder. If we are moving directories and coming here, if we check here, oops, you can see we have an access log and an error log for the web application firewall separately. This is in a different folder, and it's in a different folder because it's just easier to oversee and manage. But in this case, we can check the access logs and see if we are able to see our little entry. And you can see that I've connected and everything. So let's see if we did a tail -f, and so let's refresh this, and we can see that we have gotten the request, and we have got redirected. So these are all the same. You can see this is where we started, test equals, and then this is where we gotten. So, and this is also just a random request, and we can go back. Of course, it would be gray listed if it was a normal machine and not a private IP address machine. But since this is a private IP address, we are not getting gray listed, but you can see that we are able to check this. And also, one good way to see if everything is up and running, if you are also checking, let's see, and just go into var log Apache, and let's see what do we have. And in our case, it will be the other vhost access log, but in normal scenarios, usually it's just the access.log. So make sure to go into the right one. But we can see by opening this that we are also indeed seeing everything as it should be. So you can see we have gotten the request. We have gotten the request for the /test equals, and we have also gotten the redirection for the web application firewall. So you can see that everything is up and running. But let's move back for a second and just move into, and let's just, oops, we do not need that. We only need the main.log. So if you are checking the main.log, you will see every incident happen here. So if you're getting a new incident sent, you will see it here. If you are getting, you can see that version firewall got a downloadable configuration file from the API. You can see it here. It's the main.log for a reason. It contains every main information necessary for you, and you can check it if you would like to do that. You can, on a real environment, you would be able to see some IP addresses getting blocked here, and that they are sent up. And in fact, we can also, let's do this. And we should be able to see once we are, of course, we don't want to be gray listed for too long. So, yep, you can see that incident about sudo/3.8 added to the incident queue, and incident queue sent to BitNinja Central with 1 incident. And if you refresh, you can see we are still there. Everything's working right. So this is how it works, and you will be able to see all kinds of IP addresses here. So everything gets sent here, and then you will see it here. So there's nothing that drops this, and you can check all of these files. If you do use the tail-f command, it will keep updating, so you don't have to open it with a text editor, for example, because these are large files, of course. So you can just use tail-f and you'll be able to see all of the new stuff that comes up to this log. And you can also just use this, and let's see what we could tail here. Oops, nope. And just let's see. We could also use the, let's say, Validation Firewall Manager. So tail -f and just go. So you can see by checking the Validation Firewall Manager's logs that redirections for 3.3.7 is healthy, checking redirect service status, BitNinja WAF is running, service is running for this port. So no service is running on this port because of course we are not using HTTPS, but the normal redirection for 80 is healthy, so everything is running and should be all right. So if you're curious about any other modules, you can go ahead and check the logs, check the files and stuff, and you should be able to find out what's happening, because our logs will tell you that, hey, something is not right. You can see I have stopped, and you can go in and do that. And also one more important log, which you cannot see here because we did not have any errors, but we can also have an error.log here, which will contain any error messages caught by the agent itself. So if the agent is running into an error itself, you will see it there, and you should be able to either try and fix it yourself or go to the support and they will be able to help you with the logs in that. So I hope you have learned something today and that it will come in handy sometime. Have a nice day ahead. Cheers.